Hello, everybody. Welcome to an online discussion organized by KineDok. I'm Jana Gombiková, and I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk about this interesting topic, which is AI in art, artificial intelligence or artificial isolation, with our guests, filmmakers Viera Čákanyová and Petr Salaba. Hello.
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 So let's start. The topic of discussion is related to Viera's movie White on White, which you can see online for free on the KineDok website till 12 December. So first, I would like to introduce Viera, and we're gonna speak about your movie, which is basically a video diary that you kept while staying at the Polish Antarctic station. So can you tell us more about this movie?
Well, yeah, so I was interested in this topic of artificial intelligence for some time, like a few years, and I made actually 3 films that are connected and form some sort of informal trilogy, which discuss this topic from different perspectives. And I actually went to Antarctica to shoot another film which was called Frem, and it was meant to be some sort of a like view on the world or on the natural landscape through the eyes of some sort of inhuman entity. And at the time, like being there in Antarctica and shooting this film, I kept this video diary, and but it wasn't like planned from the very beginning that this other film, White on White, that I will create another film, but yeah, it somehow happened because I found that this point of view of artificial intelligence that is in this film Frame needed some sort of like other perspective from the human experience of this place. So these films are sort of complementary, let's say. Yeah, and that's how the film White on White was conceived.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you where this idea comes from that you decided to go to shoot the movie on Antarctica.
Well,
Happened?
it was a very long process. Actually, I just wanted to make some film that where the human being won't be like the main character, or I was thinking about making some non-anthropocentric film, and I was looking for some place where like humans don't play like a major role in the landscape, and there are not many signs of human activity. And so, yeah, basically you can go to some Arctic regions or I don't know, maybe a desert would also fit this idea. But I got in touch with like a Czech like a polar a guy that goes to these polar regions and had like informal base in Antarctica in South Shetlands. He was called Jaroslav Pavlicek, and he also wrote these books about survival in extreme conditions. And we started to talk to each other, and that's how the idea actually sparked in my head that I could do it there. But finally, we didn't do it at this base, but at some other base, the Polish base, which was on an island next to the island where the base of Jaroslav Pavlicek was. So it was, yeah. But I basically wanted to shoot it in some landscape where the traces of human activity are not obvious, and like you could think that because there is some confusion, like when actually in time is this all happening, because the landscape is like there are not many indices, whether it's in the past or in the future, because it would look the same, you know, like this landscape looked like this before we appeared on the face of the planet as humans, and it would look like this when we maybe disappear. So yeah, to just like challenge this idea of our importance.
Yeah, so this is how it's connected also with this topic of the movie Frame, right?
Yeah, that was the main idea for Frame, but being there, I actually in Frame there was at the beginning, like when I was doing some preparation, there was this line of a human being actually also, like some sort of researcher, like AI researcher, who would launch this this device into the air, and so there was this line of a human being, but in the editing process, we cut it out from the film and let it only through this perspective of this entity, let's say artificial intelligence or neural network in some drone body, but you don't know what it is. Some people can interpret it as some sort of alien or whatever. It's not like very. There are a few indices like that I put into the introduction, but it's very open to any kind of interpretation. It's just like something you don't know what it is, but it's obviously somehow intelligent, and it's like analyzing the space, the landscape, and collecting some data and doing something with it, but you're not sure what it is. And yeah.
Yeah, but this is really funny for me because I mean, you are showing the world from the point of view of artificial intelligence, but still you, the creator, is the human. You are the human. So how you manage to become the artificial intelligence? Did it help somehow that you have in the
But I hope I
white
didn't.
dialogue?
I hope I
AI?
didn't become artificial intelligence. But
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like you had to really imagine how the artificial
yeah,
intelligence is thinking.
obviously it was very challenging, and I didn't success in a way that it's like you can still feel some human approach or like a human behind it probably, but that's actually why the second film, White on White, uh, happened, because for me it was like really absurd, you know, to be in this place, in this landscape, which was totally like hostile towards like any form of biological life, and you feel like very fragile, and it's like really a survival experience a lot of times in these conditions, in the weather conditions. So you struggle with like with your body, and and it's a very physical experience, and at the same time you're trying to do this like conceptual experimental film from the point of view of artificial intelligence, but you are this little human being in this harsh environment, and so it was very absurd to switch into this mindset, you know, of this entity observing the world. And that's why I had this urge to somehow document what I was feeling as a human being, and I had this small camera, like additional camera with me, so I started to make these recordings, but it was really like from some just internal need to verbalize what I experienced. And I didn't mean from the very beginning to make like a film out of it. It was really just for like a psychohygiene place, you know, because I needed to talk to myself and understand what was going on inside my head.
But you also talk to this AI, yeah, this
Yeah,
artificial
yeah, but that was like actually. it was put there in the editing process, you know, because I needed to somehow make a structure or yeah, to find a clue how to edit the material together. And since there was this topic of artificial intelligence, like in the first film I was doing in Frame, and like before, like in the research process, when I was studying this topic, I executed quite a lot of these conversations with the different chatbots and like neural networks, but it wasn't that sophisticated yet, you know, because it's few years ago, so there wasn't ChatGPT. It was like quite simple, but still, I like this idea to somehow talk to this other type of intelligence, and so that's why I put it there because I need to somehow explain like why I'm actually there, you know, at this place. That it's not just like some like extreme trip, like being a tourist in Antarctica, but it was really connected with this first film, which was from the point of view of artificial intelligence. So for me, it was a way how to explain like why I'm there and what I'm dealing with in my head, because that was these topics I was thinking about all the time. So it helped me to make some dramaturgy, you know, in the film.
So is this AI you are talking to real? Because seems to me quite smart, you know, comparing to
What do you think?
Yeah.
But maybe now it's like I think now maybe it would be possible, you know, this type of answers that you could get this type of answers. Yeah, well, at the time when I was doing it, no, I had to like write it. But
So you are the artificial intelligence behind the
yeah,
movie.
also I'm on the both sides. But um yeah, I was like I just imagined like, because I had this experience how it reacts, like this sort of neural networks, if it would be trained on some texts from like thermodynamics or theoretical physics, like it could look like this, you know, the answers, because it's very narrow. I mean, it's very narrow-minded. It's this materialist uh, point of view, you know, on everything. Because that's because if the corpus of the information is limited on this, then the answers would probably look this way. So it's very reductionist, how it sees the world. But yeah, it was just a mental experiment.
I liked it very much. I would like to ask Petr now. You have been using AI in your movies for quite a long time. So I would like to like recently I've seen the trailer for your new movie, Scales. What's the name? Sorry.
Scale Space.
Scale Space. Yeah. Okay. So the names of your movies are quite difficult for me. So, and this movie is fully generated by AI. So I would like to ask you how this collaboration happened and why you decided to use this kind of method.
So I think it's important to say that it was the visuals which were generated by the AI. We had a complete control over the script. So that in this case, the AI was mainly in the role of the cinematographer and maybe art direction and lighting and acting to an extent, but not in charge of script direction and editing and music. And basically, we started with writing prompts, so textual descriptions of the scenes. And then there was a lot of randomness involved. And first, we would have a static image generated either by one of these three systems that we used, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and DALL-E 3. And then we use this tool called Gen 2, where you upload the static image, and it generates a 4-second clip, and then you can extend the clip a couple of times, I think up to 16 seconds. And especially the second process where you sort of animate the static image is a very, very random. The AI kind of tries to guess how this image should probably move. And what's quite interesting, and maybe if we screen a sample, so the content of our film, it's a story of evolution in a logarithmic perspective. That means that it's about different time scales and about different eras. I think in this way, it's a little bit related to some of the themes in Viera's film, because I think she also talks about like kind of scales of time and different geological periods, and what's the place of us humans. Actually, one of the questions that we try to answer with our film is when we as humans are, and then the answer is no. But what does it mean, no? Well, like, where is no on this in this story of time? The reason why we decided for this AI technology was that I think otherwise the content would be like production-wise very expensive to make, because it's about formation of Earth, about Cambric explosion of early organisms. It's about dinosaurs, extinction of dinosaurs. It's about the Neolithic revolution. It's about industrialization. It's about COVID pandemic. So there are all these themes which would be like very difficult to shoot in an attractive way. But these AI tools, they kind of allowed us to do it, even though we had to do a lot of so-called cherry picking. It means that we, for this 29-minute film, we generated about 5,500 video clips, and I think we selected about 300 of these, which turned out the best. And we used a lot of sort of editing tricks to kind of infer meaning into these shots. And what I found interesting about this process is that sometimes with certain shapes and certain things in the image, the AI can make it very organic and almost like very sensual. And usually what works very well is when there are some particle effects like fog or backlight. For example, there are some apes with backlit fur, and that looks like incredibly well. Or at the beginning, and that's I think in the sample that we could screen, there are some details on cyanobacteria, some early unicellular organisms producing oxygen, and also I think that this water bubble is made very organically. So that's quite interesting, and it goes a little bit against our intuition how kind of a machine-made movie would look like. That it does not really have this robotic feel, but very organic feel. And I think it's kind of related to how the current AI technology works, either these image generators or even the large language models, that they are actually like very fuzzy, and maybe we could rather than artificial intelligence, we could think maybe of them as artificial intuition, because it kind of has this fuzzy generalization of things, and it's actually very difficult to get something very concrete and very discrete out of this system, out of these systems. You can actually try it out with ChatGPT, especially if you use the 3.5, which does not like connect to other plugins. If you would ask them some math questions, for example, multiplication of larger numbers, it will not perform well, which is a bit unexpected and unintuitive, that this very advanced computer software cannot multiply large numbers. That's because the technology is based on this fuzzy prediction of language. So it was a little bit like that with the images. And what's interesting about the images that we had generated is that it can be thought of as a sort of collective representation of our public memory, because the models were trained on publicly accessible images. So in a way, it will be to an extent very stereotypical what we will get out of it. But so at the very beginning, when we were playing out with these systems, the results looked very much like stock footage, and it was also like quite kitschy. So one first decision was to make it all black and white. That was kind of our effect that we imposed on the whole thing. But then we quite consciously were trying to work with aesthetics, which makes sense in black and white. So in our prompt descriptions, we were often referencing, for example, German expressionist cinema and some older authors which made their films in black and white. What was quite interesting, what worked very well, was when we put there the name of a Czech photographer, Josef Sudek. I think, for example, we in our film we can see a shot of dinosaur eggs, which look like as if it was a still alive photo by Josef Sudek. So I found that quite exciting. On the other hand, I think it's quite controversial. I also have very weird feelings about putting names of actual people in my prompts. We try not to put there at least names of living artists, but this is still like a very very controversial issues, and a lot of these companies which develop these AI systems are now being sued by the artists. So yeah. It's ethically on a thin ice, and legally in a few months or years we might find out that in different countries it might be even illegal to use some of these tools.
So I would like to ask both of you, what is your personal opinion about this problem that these AI models are basically trained on some people's art? And what do you think about it? Do you think it should be perceived as a violation of like author's right, or how do you see this problem?
Well, you have to train on something, you know, when you go to like some school and you want to become a painter, you also like train on like what other people did before. I mean, you maybe even like try to copy some styles at the beginning in the process of searching your own like artistic expression. So I don't know, like it's since we created this artificial intelligence, it's I mean, you can't avoid this type of situation because obviously it's fed with the human outcomes because that's how it's actually we created artificial intelligence and we call it's artificial intelligence, but it's actually some sort of a mirror that we are looking into, and it reflects like our own like thoughts and processes because we feed it with us. I mean, so I don't know how to avoid this type of situation when, yeah. But I don't feel like for me it's not a problem. I mean, personally, if it would be fed with my work, for example, and do something with it, I don't care. I mean, I don't have this type of
you could do it yourself and just produce movies like that.
Well, it's because it's like complicated question because one part of it is like this copyright, you know, like one part of it is that you create something unique and you want to have your name like associated with it, but the other thing is financial, you know, like it's about money, so it's like different. And I don't care if I don't have this urge that this is what I created. It's original and it's like my pure artistic vision. I don't care if other people use it and do something with it. I don't have this exclusive type of relationship towards my work, for example. But I can understand that some people maybe have, and for them it's a problem that someone copies them, or and the other thing is this money, you know, like that you should be, I mean, paid for that someone uses your work. for some other purpose, because it's like you own it, or you have this, it's like your mental property, let's say. That's the idea behind the copyright. But so it's like different perspectives, you know.
Yeah. And what about Petr? What do you think about this?
I quite agree with the points that Viera had, that it's very difficult to make a ban on this process, but what's crucial is when it comes to money. And I can imagine that different people would have very different experiences, because what can easily happen is that you're an artist, I mean, like a commercial artist, you work in like a free market environment, and then somebody copies your distinct style, and then they can reproduce what you make, and they can reproduce it with really high quality and very cheaply and very quickly. And then maybe people will not really be that motivated to hire you again. So it's really a weird situation. It might come to a situation where then many people will not be able to produce any more work. So it might actually stop creativity. But it really depends in what sort of economic systems we function in. Because, for example, Viera mentioned that she would not mind, but maybe I wonder, and maybe Viera could clarify it. But I think that many of her films were quite largely made with the support of public money. So it was actually based thanks to the idea that there is a law that the public has to give a money to a fund, and there will be a committee that will redistribute this money to artists. So somebody could argue that if we make a film based on public support, that it's kind of a public property what we made. So I think because there's an idea of sort of universal basic income that's I think what might happen, and not just with art, but with many kind of aspects of our economy, that we will be able to outsource so many things to the AI, and for us to maintain functioning, we will like have to tax these tools like heavily, and maybe create some funds which will then support the artists, but then it will be again about some committees which will decide how to redistribute it. Yeah, I wonder how Viera thinks about this, and how much she thinks that her sort of leniency to have a AI use her work is maybe based on the fact that her films are not that commercial, and I think they were largely funded by public money. If you think that this is an argument or not.
But I don't understand, like, if I'm okay with the fact that it's then, because it was made with public money, it's like freely available to anyone because it's like public property. That's what you're saying. If I'm okay with this concept, well, yes, I'm okay. I mean, anyone can yeah, like download it and watch it, and I don't know, like do something with it.
Yeah, I mean, this is totally different discussion, because I was also thinking when the movie is made by public money, it should be maybe allowed for people to watch for free. But okay, this is this totally different topic. But
Yeah, but it's also like, you know, because obviously in my case, or like the films I do are very specific, you know, and it doesn't have like a huge audience. Let's put it like clearly, you know. So I don't think I could ever get rich, you know, or it's impossible with this type of films. So the intention is to let the most people see it, because, you know, like I'm happy when it gets to people, and I don't expect like being rewarded, you know, or paid, because it's, I don't know, it never will be a mainstream focus, you know, what I do. So it's totally different perspective. I can understand if like someone is making commercial stuff and he aims to earn money with his work, then obviously it's a different discussion. but these type of films maybe wouldn't even be possible without the public support, without the public funding, because
yeah, of course, it's very important to have this kind of resources to be able actually produce something which is not commercial. So for me, it's very important. But yeah, the like during our lives, we like, I think we are okay, not really same age, especially with Petr, but we experienced this huge change in our lives, which is this rise of artificial intelligence. So your movie, Frame, I think it was 2017. Yeah. So
yeah,
this question
end of, well, it's the copyright is 2019, because I went to Antarctica from October to December 2017, but then the editing process took like a year, and until it was released, it was like 2019.
So did you expect it, such a huge change during the next years in use of artificial intelligence? Because if you are interested in this topic, you probably have seen it coming.
Yeah, yeah, I could imagine, but yeah. So for me, it's like not a surprise or what is possible now. I was somehow expecting this type of progress, but yeah, still, when you it's hard to foresee like all these like social implications that it will actually bring, and how it will shape the world. For example, with this question of universal basic income, yeah, it's suddenly it starts to be like very real. I mean, this idea that the machines will actually do a lot of work, like instead of us, or will replace like the whole fields of human action or activities, but it creates like a lot of problems, because like what will all these people do, and like even if this universal income would be possible and the AI would do like almost everything in a way, so what will we do with the free time we have? And
I have things
I mean,
to do.
it's like there is this film from Eric Gandini, actually. I saw it at some festival. It's called After Work, and he works with this idea that this idea of universal basic income will be impossible with this AI improvement going on. So and yeah, so he visits like a lot of people and talks to them, like how would they what would they do like once this situation will happen. And yeah, because it's actually interesting in a way that we thought, or like the ideas about artificial intelligence and what could it do like few years ago was like it would just replace this like routine stupid I mean like manual harsh work, but it seems like it's more prone to replace like also what we consider as a creative work, or like much more sophisticated sort of activities, like because it's trained on this language model, so it's very good to work with language and to do some copywriting, or like the chat GPT, writing text, for example. So and also creating this all media content, like videos and animations. And so it seems like it's more likely that at the first level it will replace this type of like creative processes, let's say. And I think it's much harder for artificial intelligence to, for example, replace people who work with like physical things in real world, like like how do you say, someone who, for example, is cooking, you know, like cooks, or or like persons who are caring for others, you know, like I don't know, like teachers in kindergarten, or like making stuff. I mean,
I
so
think this biggest shock was for us artists was how easily we are replaceable.
yeah, that's it. So this type of other things which are connected with real world, and like it's more complex activities which involves like motorics, you know, like
Yeah,
working
like
with
physical
hands,
work.
and so it's much harder for the robots to do it good in a good way, you know. So probably mm,
Yeah. So how do you see the role of artificial intelligence in your work? Do you see it as a collaborator or as a tool? So how do you see it? I think Petr is using it more as a tool, but I would like to hear his opinion if it's
Mhm.
possible to collaborate also.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because when people ask me about what was the experience working with AI on this film, quite naturally I would start using the word that we collaborated. And a few years ago, I would get mad when somebody would such a anthropomorphizing word, right? But it felt that it's a little bit more than just a tool, because it was, but it's like a degree. I think there's an idea that we are right now living in the cyborg era, that we make these teams, human plus AI. And as the technology progresses, it's quite likely to expect that the input from the AI will be larger and larger, and the humans might be getting more and more marginalized. So this is how it could be like developing. But I think it's very hard to predict what will happen, because I think we humans we are very good at adapting very quickly, and I think then we will adapt to adaptations of how we adapt it. That's, I think, why it's so hard to predict what will happen with our society. Just yesterday, I was teaching a workshop on AI at a school, at an elementary school, and it was a workshop for teachers. And there was a teacher of Czech language, and she asked me, like, but what should we be teaching our kids now, when in, like, maybe not now, but in like 5 years the writing would be like so automated? Like, why do we need to like teach these nuances and in the grammar, when like everybody will have their emails written by AI? And I thought that maybe what I'm thinking that might be relevant in the future would be like be able to recite maybe poetry or read out loud, or to cultivate the performative aspect of things that we do. Because I can imagine that in the future what might be valuable, it will be just the sheer idea that it was made by the human, that it's not a matter of the result, but people would be interested in the process. And the reason might be is because that's how we put considerations into things. There's been quite a lot of research. If you present people AI generated art with something human made, and if they don't know in advance, very often people will tell you that they like the AI art better. Like, it depends how you compose the test, but very often like the AI beats human artists. But if you reveal to the people that this was made by AI and this was made by humans, then people tend to prefer the art which they learned that it was made by humans. And I think the idea is about the consideration. Yeah, there's also an idea with temporality as kind of a saying. I think it's more like a saying than like a law, but the amount of time we put into like focusing on a piece of work is correlated with the amount of time it took to make the piece of work. So if something was made very quickly in an instant, then we will not put that much attention to it. But when we see something very crafty, then we might put more consideration into it. So maybe in the future, there is also a concept called maybe we've heard of the idea of attention economy, where a commodity, where attention is a rare commodity. So now there's also an idea of consideration economy, like what do we consider like important personally for us. I don't have clear answers. I'm just bringing up like the concepts to
Happen.
think about.
I'm very curious. I think, because the Viera's approach is totally different. She basically made the AI the main character of the movie, but still the movie is made by a human.
Mhm.
But I would like to ask if you are also collaborating with AI on your movies, if you are using these tools, or I don't know, like tools. For me, it's when I speak to AI, I still perceive it as a person.
Mm.
Maybe just me, but Viera, do you collaborate also with AI in your movies?
Yeah, well, actually more now than because this film White on White, it was like really it was just at this conceptual level, let's say, there wasn't really like a AI input. It was just at the level of idea. But for example, now I'm also experimenting with these softwares, these networks that can create like video or animation out of this, that you write these prompts or feed it with some sort of pictures as a reference, and then it elaborates on it and creates like new outputs. And it's it is interesting, and I think it's like really like this profession of animators will just disappear in maybe in few years, because in the sense we knew it before, that you have to like draw every single frame by frame, like some action, that it really will be reduced to actually being very skilled like prompt creator, let's say, that this will maybe be the profession, that it will be important to verbalize what you need out of this system, but to be like as to actually understand how this system think, and to put it into words in a way so that you get what you want. Because, for example, now it's, as Peter said, it's very random, or a lot of times the outcome is unpredictable. And it is also what is interesting in a way, that
Same with the humans, no? You try to explain somebody how to do something, the outcome is unpredictable.
Yeah, but this is like really, but still it's random, but and in a way it also has like a specific style which is recognizable. And you just can say, you can tell that it's AI. Or I don't know, I'm working with like some specific software or softwares, and there are these morphings like blending the frames, like the consecutive frames in a specific way, and you can just say that it was created by AI. But I think that in the future it will be like more perfect, and these technical aspects will improve, so you won't be able to say like whether it was created by human or AI. And that is also what is like really fuzzy, because when people when Peter said that people appreciate more like stuff that, or things that were created by humans, if they know it and they get this information. So, but I don't think that you will be able to. What if you won't have this information, because everything is so like fuzzy and can be like people can maybe even lie deliberately or on purpose, and this is what is already happening, with with all these conspiration theories and all these like visual outcomes and deep fake and whatever. So it's like it won't be you won't be able to actually tell. And so but I think like people will always like to actually create something themselves. I mean, for me, it's not like it's not like why I should stop like doing what I do. Even if some AI would be able to create a film that will look like mine, one day. But it's not like just because it's about the process, you can just enjoy as a human being to create something or to make something with your hands, for example, some craft, because you enjoy the materiality of it or all these challenges it brings, because for you it's something that enriches you as a person, that you go through this process and you have to overcome all these challenges somehow. So I don't know. I mean, but it's from this purely artistic perspectives. So if you create something out of some um, inner urge, to say something or to like discover something for yourself or to widen your, horizons or whatever. But yeah, obviously, if it's like commercial work, it's totally different perspective. Then you can be maybe demotivated that AI does it better or the same way as you would do it, because then there is no point, like to compete with it, or I don't know. So I can understand this type of like helplessness towards this future. But if you just create something because it makes you happy or it enriches your life or whatever, then it won't disappear just because AI will do it also,
Yeah, that's I like this idea that what you said, that you cannot compete with AI, because I think this is the biggest problem. No matter what you do as a single person, you just cannot compete with this kind of database of knowledge. So, Petra, do you perceive this AI as a tool or as a partner in your work?
Yeah, I think I quite agree with everything that Viera said now, and also as you said, you can't compete with it, or in the future will not be able to, because it has such a vast amount of experiences. Like these systems, they read all the available books in the world. And now Google released this system, Gemini, which can watch video. So in the future, it will be a system which have seen all the films and so on. And I think what will be left to us is our experience, and whether it's a tool or a partner, it's a strange hybrid. It's not a tool like any other. That's what I would say. Some people say it's like a tool like any other. It's like a typewriter, a printing press, or fire. But this tool has some really unprecedented autonomy, and it can have some very human like behavior, and in some ways it can appear even more human than the humans. So I think what in the future will be important will be the cultivation of our understanding of our own experiences, like what Viera said. The process will be important, but I think it will be quite important not to get disconnected from the process. I think that's what very often happens in our culture, that it's about the outcomes, about the achievements. So maybe, hopefully in the future, in the utopic vision of the future, we could maybe all kind of chill down in a way, and I'm really enjoying the process. But it's a bit paradox. But at the same time, I think what's enjoyable about the process is the struggle. It's not that it's all just relaxation and infinite vacation. I think we as humans, like evolutionary wise, like we evolved in order to like overcome like hurdles. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's dangerous in terms that because who likes the struggle, and the challenge? Like a lot of people, because at the same time, how we are constructed or how our brains work is that you want this reward, like soon, or like you want. I mean, maybe we are defaultly lazy, in a way, and just if you can just chill out and not put much effort into anything, and so a lot of people maybe will choose this like easier way how to persist in reality, just fed themselves with some like easy, easy things that make them happy instantly, or and because you have to be a little masochistic to force yourself into some creative process, which will be hard and challenging, and you will also live these moments of I don't know, like hopelessness or like exhaustion, because it's part of the process. But who wants to do this deliberately? You have to be like very uh elaborated human being, or at some level of consciousness or whatever, to be willing to go this path, So, but it's a challenge.
But I wonder, do you think that people who go to gym are masochists? Because I'm thinking of this because now a lot of people pay money so they can go to gym and lift heavy weights.
Yeah, but also a lot of people are obese, and do nothing, and it's like a worldwide pandemics, So I don't know, like it's
And at the same time, I think in the 19th century, it would look totally silly if the peasants learned that in the future people will pay money to be able to lift heavy things. And yes, as you mentioned, at the same time, a lot of people are obese. I've read that like we like live in a time where we have like most people who have bodies like antique statues, like they are very athletic, and at the same time we have the highest amount of people who are obese. So it's kind of this social like division that's what might be like a big problem with the technology, if it like divides these gaps between people. And also there are very different kinds of struggle. I think me as an artist, I would totally say that it's a very, very privileged kind of struggle that I have. It's different when you struggle as a like a low income person who has to take care of children, have 2 jobs, and maybe
Artists. That's how artists work in Slovakia.
Okay, well, I'm an artist.
yeah, you're doing this, and on the top of it, you try to create something. But yeah, well, it always comes to this like individual constitution of a person, how you will actually deal with these challenges, in the future, whether you will want to force yourself to do something because it gives you some intellectual or emotional reward, or not, and just consume whatever is created out there to make you feel this instant happiness for at least microseconds. And so
Yeah, so I am not really sure what to say now. I think the future is kind of scary in a way, and also kind of interesting. So I'm really curious where it is gonna lead for artists and for like non-artists.
maybe we can ask ChatGPT where it will lead.
My mind is quite stupid. I don't know if I have to pay something to get the better answers, but currently I'm just struggling. He cannot tell a Czech from Slovak language, so I don't know.
It's getting stupid. It's funny.
I don't know. This is just my experience that it's stupid. Maybe it's learning more from like people. So are we gonna ask ChatGPT?
How the future will look like? How the future of artists in Slovakia will look like?
Slovakia is not the-
Well, I think it will be more influenced by the current political situation, actually, which is really shitty in Slovakia. So, in terms of who is the Ministry of Culture and so on. So,
we don't have to worry much about AI.
yeah, I think they can ruin a lot of things in 5 years. So,
Yeah, we will see.
or 4 years is the election period.
So the ChatGPT is saying, predicting the future of art is challenging. So yeah, so basically it's the
Only this one sentence it produced. Okay.
there's a lot of sentences, but it's, what we already spoke about is digital evolution, AI and artistic collaboration, this kind of topics. So I don't think the ChatGPT has an answer for this question because it's only been fed by our knowledge.
And our doubts and
Yeah. Okay, so maybe one last question. I would like to ask you about the new projects you are working on and if it has something to do with AI.
well, I was just saying that right now I'm experimenting with
Yeah.
these softwares. It's actually like short film or maybe mid-length film, but it's part of a feature film where we collaborate like 3 directors on the same movie. So it's like 3 parts, and I'm having 1 part, and it's about like environmental sort of burdens in Slovakia, like 3 locations where there is a huge contamination, like these landfills, sort of, or and so and but I started to work with these softwares that generate animation because my part will be animated film actually for many reasons. It's but I won't go into detail, but yeah, it's like so I'm now trying to use these AI tools to generate some animation for this part.
And why you decided to use AI and another actual human animators?
I'm also collaborating with human animators. Yeah, it's a combination because it's even this one part that I'm doing is like different layers or like different like different also time and different locations, and each of these micro episodes has a different style. So something is created by human animators, and in this one part in the middle, I'm using these generative softwares. Yeah, but it's
I
fed with
think
some like real images of the locations, and I'm just using this software to modify it or to add some other like layers onto it. Yeah.
So I think after the first experience, this collaboration becomes quite natural. No, you don't even consider not to work with AI again.
Well, I actually considered that I didn't think I would do this, but also it's of course like a question of money, as maybe Petr already said, that when you want to yeah, you have like many ideas which are it's really hard to create, like because I don't have that huge budget, and also it's very time consuming for people to do it. And when you make a film where you don't need like very specific outcome, it's like why it's usable for me, because it's more like this associative, you know, association, like the ideas that you have some idea in your head, and uh, but you are okay with different outcomes, which maybe I wouldn't be able to come with it myself, because that's why these AI tools are good, that it produces somehow really weird stuff, and that you wouldn't be able to conceive, but then you can work with it and modify it and somehow transform it, and yeah, so.
This is the next project. And what about Petr? Are you gonna continue with this collaboration?
Yeah, I'm quite glad that I've made my AI art project, and then I would like to focus on work with horses. That's my big passion. I just discovered the art of communication with horses. That's what I'm really interested in, and maybe in the future, maybe I'll be interested in making some performance with horses, something I would consider like new circus. Like in the old circus, you would have the animals, then you have the new circus, which is without animals, more about acrobatics. But maybe like try out something where again that there is like a human-animal collaboration, but like in a respectful and like very like sensitive way, and like where you kind of try to find something which could be considered as some sort of consent from the animal, even it's very hard. We don't know what the animal thinks, but I found it like really interesting, and a kind of a natural progress from AI to interaction with animals, because I'm interested in these extra human intelligence, and I'm mainly interested in AI in how it relates to humans, that what it says about us, and also that's why I'm interested in animals also, like what the animals, how the animals could be a mirror for humans. As Viera said, that this AI which is based on this database of our collective works serves as a mirror to humans and humanity, and then also like an animal which acts mainly based on instincts, that it can also very much mirror our inner states, especially animal like horse, which is a very very social, I would say hyper social animal. So that's something I don't have a concrete project. I'm more like learning the kind of art of so-called natural communication with horses, but that's what I'm putting a lot of my passion and focus on.
I like this switch from AI to back to the nature, basically in both of your projects. Okay, so thank you very much for this discussion. I think it was fun, and hopefully AI won't take all our jobs and we can continue in being artists.
Yeah, we will.
We will.
Forget AI. Let's get to work.
Okay, thank you very much for watching, and you can still see Viera's movie on our VOD of KineDok. And that's it. So
yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, it's mainly created by me, by a human being. So
okay, thanks our guests, Viera Čákanyová and Petr Salaba.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.